I'm Lori and I love books. Today, instead of a tea, I have True Limeade. Black cherry is the flavor. I've never had this brand or this flavor before, so I'm hoping you'll enjoy it. It does have this gorgeous pinkish purple color. It's a more of a sweet flavor. It's not very sour, so it's very nice. I was a little worried it'd be a little too sour. So today I have my book review for my Children's Classics Club on Goodreads. The April's book was The Princess and the Goblins by George MacDonald. And I'm going to be reviewing this. It's part of a duology, so this is the first part, and then the second part is The Princess and Curdie. I do recommend both of them, but I'll only be discussing The Princess and the Goblins. If you want me to do a review of The Princess and Curdie as well, so you know a little bit more about what that book is, then let me know in the comments and I'll definitely do that. So I do have some notes, and there will be some spoilers, but I don't really discuss the ending of anything because I don't want to spoil too much. But I do want to give enough information that if you don't know anything about this book, you will know a little bit more about this book. So this book is about Princess Irene, who's probably between 8 to 10, and she is living in the mountains and being cared for by servants, including her nurse, Ludi. The mountain is inhabited, the inside of the mountain, by goblins, and the goblins are seen as a danger to the princess, and so there are certain rules, like the princess can't go out after it gets dark, but one day her and her nurse are out after dark and they encounter goblins for the first time. That's where they met a secondary character who's also kind of Princess Irene's the main character. He's almost the second main character because some chapters focus on Princess Irene and some focus on him. And he is a minor, young, maybe 12 or 14, years old, and he knows how to chase the goblins away. And so he teaches or helps Princess and Ludi get back to their home. Let's see. And then the goblins are not just in general a nuisance, they're actually plotting against Princess Irene. They want to kidnap her and then force her to marry the Prince of the Goblins. So the characters are very beautiful, but they can be a bit simplistic. Princess Irene is sweet and polite even when she's offended. She is frequently characterized by George MacDonald as being a true princess and describing what a true princess is and what a true princess does. And the true princess always tells the truth. And so it makes her seem very, very sweet, but there's only a little bit of growth necessarily in the book where she, it isn't really her changing, it's how other people see her differently. And then Curdie is a dutiful son and wants to be helpful. He wants to help Irene, not because he wants anything out of it, but because it's the right thing to do. And then the grandmother, Irene, who's the former queen, who is either a spirit or a ghost or an angel, something very magical. And Princess Irene is one of the only people that can see her. And she is magical and helpful and loving. She, wants to help Irene to be successful, and she does it by giving Irene a gift of this very thin ball of thread that if the princess rolls it out, it will lead her where she needs to go, and then it's attached to a ring that Princess Irene was given by her father, the king. So that's how she's able to travel around and always wind up safe. So And then the goblins are selfish, and they just want what will help them. They don't care about anybody else, and they don't really care about other goblins either. It's kind of each goblin for themselves. The imagery is my favorite part of this book. It has a lot of great detail of like how the house is set up that Princess Irene is living in, that there's all these stairs, that it kind of keeps going up and up and up, and that's how she discovers her grandmother for the first time. It discusses how like the mines are in the mine, how the mines are, and the inside of the mountain is. It describes in detail the physical descriptions of the goblins, and the goblins have animals and how those look as well. And so it's a very easy book to read and imagine actually seeing. There is a cartoon based on this. I don't currently own it, but I have had it in the past, and it was a decent cartoon. It's probably a bit outdated because it was, I think I had it on VHS, so it's probably a really old cartoon at this point. For this book on Goodreads, I did have a challenge of 3 things. 1, make a silly song to chase the goblins away. And I'll put my my responses to that over on Goodreads as well. And then make a picture, a painting, or drawing inspired by the Rose Fire. I'll probably put that on my Instagram at Lori_loves_books. And then inspired by the Queen Irene's bath of the sky and the moon and the stars, go stargazing, which I did. And I saw Orion's belt, and I just kind of enjoyed the night sky and the fresh air, and I wasn't too worried about looking for different constellations. It's just Orion's belt. It's very easy to see. So that is my book review of The Princess and the Goblins, and a little discussion about my challenge that I had over there. I do definitely recommend reading the second book if you like the first book. It is a little bit more spiritual than the first book is, but it's also, I think, really interesting. And for Children's Book Club, Children's Classics Club on Goodreads for May, we will be reading from the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. I've never read this before. I think there was a made-for-TV movie that I saw at one point, and I didn't really get what the name had to do with the movie, like what happened with the characters in the movie. It might have just been because I wasn't paying close enough attention, so I'm hoping that the book makes a little bit more sense of why that title for this book. So that is the next book. So what do you think about this type of video for this channel? Let me know in the comments. Is there a classic children's book that you really love and you'd recommend? Like I've mentioned in my past videos, I will be uploading on YouTube on Saturdays. Sundays I'll do Instagram, and then Mondays I'll usually like watch YouTube videos, and then Instagram's kind of like, Goodreads I kind of do as much as I possibly can. So I hope you have a lovely time reading. Bye!